So, gracias hoy por venir. So before we start today's agenda, today's meeting, I want to take a minute to really thank our Board of Supervisor, Warren Slocum, who is our champion and our leader who's really been spearheading this Middlefield Road project. Here with us today is his representative, Maggie Cornejo, who I'd like to introduce and allow a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Can everyone hear me? Great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maggie Cornejo, and I'm a legislative aide for Supervisor Warren Slocum's office. Bienvenidos y buenos días. Mi nombre es Maggie Cornejo y soy una asistente legislativa para el supervisor Warren Slocum. I want to start by thanking everybody who's here, all of our partners, the Office of Community Affairs for putting this together, and the Department of Public Works for all their work. Quiero comenzar en agradecer a todas las personas que están aquí, a la Oficina de Community Affairs, al Departamento de Public Works y a todas las personas que contribuyeron a este proyecto. Supervisor Slocum has been very excited about this project since he started office in 2013. El supervisor Warren Slocum ha estado muy emocionado por este proyecto desde que entró a su posición en el 2013. He is really proud of all the community effort, all the partnership, and can't wait to see this place be a place where the community can gather and enjoy it. El supervisor está muy orgulloso de todo el esfuerzo que fue a este proyecto, todo el esfuerzo comunitario, y está muy emocionado que la comunidad pueda disfrutarlo ya cuando esté terminado. And I just encourage you all to take a moment and ask questions at the end of the presentation and connect with the Office of Community Affairs, who's going to be answering all those questions. Y a todos les sugiero que hagan preguntas después de la presentación para que los panelistas puedan contestar. Gracias. And yeah, if you guys ever need anything from our office, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Thank you, Supervisor Slocum's office. As I mentioned, my name is Emma Gonzalez, and I am the lead for the Office of Community Affairs, who many of you have already met our outreach team who are going out and working with you and inviting you to our meeting today, as well as provided informational packet, in which I hope everyone has that today. The goal of today's meeting is to provide you with an update of the Middlefield Road project and the construction that's undergoing to really help our business owners now better understand what will be happening, how we can best provide services and answer their questions, and how to confirm a direct line of communication, more importantly. We want to provide you with one point of contact and to say, if I have a question, who do I call? We want to make sure that you have as much information as possible, and also to provide you an update. We recently completed a survey, and thank you very much for all of you that have participated. We have 119 businesses that are in what we call the construction zone. The construction zone is from Douglas to north of 6th Avenue. And within those, in that particular area, there's 119 businesses. Of that, 112 of businesses completed our survey. So I'll be able to share a brief update of that survey results and some next steps. Next slide, please. Our agenda today is I'll provide you with a brief information about background. This project has been undergo for some years, and so we'll be able to provide you a project background. We'll be able to review some proposed improvements in construction schedule, what the plan looks like. I know many of you are asking, when is it going to hit my business? When is it going to impact it directly in front of me? We'll be able to give you some tentative dates and more importantly, how to stay informed, how to receive that information and how best to move forward and get that information. Additional parking, right? We know that that's of concern. And so we want to make sure that you have the resources of where that additional parking is As I said, we'll give you some updates on the owner surveys that were recently provided, as well as who to contact, your single point of contact, and answer those questions. We have a number of county staff here today as well, for some of that could, and as well as some from our construction team from ACOM and Granite Rock that will also be able to help answer any questions as needed. Next slide, please. The background, let me start there. This project was originally defined by the North Fair Oaks Community Plan process, which was completed back in 2011. We did a comprehensive, robust outreach when this plan was developed. The county community, the North Fair Oaks Community Plan was approved by the Board of Supervisors in November of 2011. And it outlines the vision and the goals that were developed for North Fair Oaks and really projecting for the next 25 to 30 years, which this included the Middlefield Road redesign project. The goals of the project include improvement of the pedestrian and bicycle lanes, is to create a more walkable and bikeable community connection, as well as to provide wider sidewalk, trees, furniture, greenery. Again, this was by input of our community members that live and work in North Fair Oaks area. It also was to preserve more vehicle access while encouraging people to slow down, slower speeds, to improve travel and transit communication that are safe, accessible, and convenient. We also want to acknowledge that this has taken a long time to get here. It's almost 10 years. And there's a lot of moving pieces of this project with any construction, including project design, securing necessary funding, coordination with PG&E and other utility companies, it's like the San Francisco Water, railroad, and the clinic, as well as we were under a COVID pandemic, which also contributed to some of the delays. We look forward to working with you through this process. We look forward to completing this process with you. It is an 18-month project. With that being said, I now like to hand it over to our Department of Public Works, who's here. They can talk more specifically about the construction, and they'll present the detailed improvements and construction schedule. Thank you very much, and I will move it over to Christoph.
Great, thank you, Emma. Next slide, please. So my name is Christoph Lisai. I'm the Principal Civil Engineer with the Department of Public Works. I'm one of the members from the team over at DPW, and I'll be giving you an update on the project. So as a reminder, the project limits we're working on are going to be from Douglas Avenue, working our way south towards 6th Avenue. Within those overall limits, we have the following work. We're going to be doing roadway improvements from Pacific Avenue to 5th Avenue. We're going to be undergrounding all the utilities, which are currently on the overhead lines from MacArthur Avenue to 5th Avenue. And then we're also using this as an opportunity to include sanitary sewer replacement, and that work is going to be occurring from Douglas Avenue to 6th Avenue. Next slide, please. So as you can see from this slide, this is a rendering of what we hope the street will look like once we're finished. As Emma mentioned earlier, this was reviewed and discussed with the community through a community input process. This was the final design that was chosen for the project. Next slide, please. So in terms of project layouts and some of the elements, so the project includes a road diet, which means that the current configuration of the lanes, they're going to be modified from 2 lanes traveling in each direction to 1 lane in each direction with a center turn lane. And so what this allows is for additional width for us to install wider sidewalks and then bike lanes with buffer. We also plan to include pedestrian safety improvements with this project, which is one of the important aspects of the community input. So what that is going to include is high visibility crosswalks at intersections. Rapid flash beacons are going to be installed at the intersections of Dumbarton, 2nd, and 4th Avenue. Next slide, please. Other aspects of the project include new street and pedestrian lights. So they're going to be installed along the corridor, new street trees, bike rack benches, and then also state-of-the-art trash receptacles. Next slide, please. As part of this, we also plan to include green infrastructure. And so if you guys are familiar with that, you've probably seen it around the neighborhood or other areas you visited. It's a way for us to capture and treat stormwater. We understand drainage is always challenging on these types of projects. And so we're going to use this as an ability to meet some of our requirements as set by the state. And so we'll install these kind of green planter areas where it'll capture and treat stormwater. And then another important part of this is going to be undergrounding the overhead utilities. So all the utilities you currently see on the overhead poles, they'll be undergrounded under the street, and then the poles will eventually be removed. Next slide, please. So one area that I would like to focus on where we're doing a lot of work is going to be at the Redwood Junction Clinic driveway, which is also where the railroad crosses Middlefield Road. So as part of this project, we plan to install 3 new traffic signals at Hurlingham Avenue, the Clinic driveway, and at Pacific Avenue. And these are all intended to improve safety for the railroad crossing. Next slide, please. So we plan to have all these signals interconnected with the railroad crossing. So what that means is if a train is coming down the tracks, all of these lights will work in sequence to make sure that any cars that are potentially on the tracks or are potentially crossing the tracks are allowed to exit our area, and then also preventing any other cars from entering the railroad crossing. Next slide, please. Another key modification for this area is going to be to Northside Avenue. So as part of this plan, we are going to be turning a section of Northside Avenue into a one-way street. So this will be from Stanford Avenue, working our way towards Middlefield. Part of this will include a channelizer if you're traveling north on Middlefield. So if you're traveling from Menlo Park to Redwood City, we're going to be installing a channelizer to prevent any kind of right-hand turns onto Northside, since that's now a one-way street. Next slide, please. We also plan to install a raised median island to prevent any left-hand turns coming from Northside Ave onto Middlefield Road. And again, these are all intended with safety in mind to make sure that we have no issues with the railroad crossing and to improve this intersection for both pedestrians and bicyclists and vehicles. Next slide, please. So as you likely saw, we have started construction in May of this year. We were able to enter into a contract with Granite Rock Company. And then we also have the support of AECOM Technical Services as part of our construction management team. Currently, we anticipate to be completed with construction in the winter of 2022. So one thing I'd like to mention is the majority of the work will be completed by the winter of 2022, with some of the utility undergrounding work continuing past that date. Once we're done with our project, each individual utility provider, so that includes like PG&E, Comcast, AT&T, then they come onto the project site and take they test the underground facilities, make sure those work, connect those to your businesses, and then de-energize or deconnect the above ground utilities on the pole, and then kind of start removing them from the top down. So that portion of the work will continue into the later part of 2022 and potentially 2023. Next slide, please. As far as the construction, so we do anticipate that we're going to be phasing the construction based on the latest discussions we've had with Granite Rock. And so right now our plan is to start with the utility underground work, which will commence first, starting with the sewer work. We're going to start near Douglas and then work our way towards 6th Avenue. Following this, we're going to follow with generally all of the amenities we discussed earlier. So that includes the joint trench work as well as the sidewalk, road, and amenities. We're going to be working at a two block at a time area while we're installing the joint trench work, sidewalks, and amenities. So this includes like the street lights, the trees. just to make sure that we limit the area of disturbance for the project. You know, we don't want to take over the whole area. We want to make sure to limit and give our contractor enough area where we can be productive, but not too much where, you know, it becomes an impact to several businesses. So right now we plan to work on the what I call, I guess, west side of the street. So if you're driving from Redwood City to Menlo Park, we're going to work on that side first. We're going to go down from Douglas down to Fifth Avenue. Once we're done with that work, we're going to come back to Douglas and then work on the opposite side of the road, working the same way, going from Douglas towards Fifth Avenue. Next slide, please. In terms of our work hours, they're typically Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. And we will make sure to provide notifications through construction. So we're working very closely with Emma's team. You know, they've been great in the Office of Community Affairs to make sure that we provide timely updates to all the local business community. We've developed a website that I believe we'll touch on later, and that'll be your best source for latest information. Next slide, please. As far as communication, so the project team, the contractor, and the construction inspection team, as well as Emma's group, we meet on a weekly basis. We make sure to use that as an opportunity to discuss any issues, delays, schedules, or any complaints or concerns, questions we get from the community. During these meetings, we typically receive a 2-week look ahead, and so we understand where the work is occurring. In addition to this, we are asking the contractor to provide a 48-hour notice to all the businesses when work is occurring in front of their storefront. I'm sure a lot of you know, businesses or people on this meeting, the big question is, when are you going to be doing work in front of my area? And so based on these meetings, we'll have a pretty good understanding of what work is anticipated, and then we'll use that as a way to communicate with the affected businesses when we're going to be in front. I'd also like to use this opportunity to remind everybody to slow for the cone zone. So safety is our #1 priority. You know, this includes the public, our construction crew, and our project team. So if you could please, you know, please remind your friends, neighbors, colleagues that are traveling on Middlefield Road. We're in a construction, you know, to be aware of pedestrians, bicycles, and construction personnel. It's easy to get distracted when you see construction equipment, and so make sure that you slow down and pay attention. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ellie.
Great. Thank you so much, Christoph. So for this next slide, you know, I guess what we'd like to emphasize is that the county has heard concerns about parking from the businesses and from the North Fair Oaks community. And in response, the county's created 2 additional off-street parking lots that are free of charge. There is a 2-hour parking zone, but staff has also created this flyer, which was included in the blue informational packets that were delivered to businesses along Middlefield Road. And so there's a total of 39 additional parking spots that are available for folks visiting Middlefield Road at those 2 locations shown here at Berkshire and Huntington Avenue, and then also on Middlefield Road at 2nd Avenue near the mural. And a big thanks to the Office of Community Affairs outreach team who distributed the blue project information folders to all of the Middlefield Road businesses, I believe yesterday. We also handed them out at the in-person meeting that happened last week. And on the next slide, we have, I guess, you know, I'll back up. In preparation for this construction project, the county conducted a survey of businesses along Middlefield Road to learn about what questions and concerns businesses have related to the project, and particularly to understand what are your needs and concerns following the pandemic. And so we received around 112 survey responses. Thank you to those businesses that were able to submit their information. And today we just wanted to share a high-level summary of what we heard. Participants shared that they are concerned about access during construction, particularly for vehicles, pedestrians, and wheelchairs. We also heard concerns about parking, as mentioned in the previous slide. And another big topic that we heard through the survey was communication. And survey responses really requested that a project website be created. And there was also desire for email, text, and flyer updates throughout the construction process. We also heard a desire for signage during construction to let people know that businesses are still open. And these survey responses will inform the county's plan to support businesses through this construction project. And some of the initial steps the county has taken include the creation of the off-street parking lots that we mentioned during the presentation. And the county has also created a bilingual project website, which we have on the next slide, middlefieldroad.org. And so this will really be the best place to refer back to for any and all project updates. Since I took this screenshot, we've actually also added a project fact sheet and also this website, you can see the orange buttons. You can view it in Spanish on the next slide, or here it is in Spanish. So we do have all the information translated to Spanish. And the Office of Community Affairs will be updating this website regularly as construction updates are available. They'll be staying in very close communication with Department of Public Works and the construction team to be sure that important information is pushed out to the community and especially to the businesses. And our next slide, you'll see another flyer that was provided in the blue project informational folders includes this who to contact sheet. And so we've included phone numbers and emails where you can submit any questions or comments that you have throughout the construction process. And on the next slide, we have the information posted in English. So all of this information is also listed on the project website. So we'll be available to answer questions, or you can leave a message over the phone Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. And of course, email is also another option. And one other thing that I'll just mention is that Emma and the Office of Community Affairs is also working on locating a satellite office on Middlefield Road so that there will be a staff person available during the weekdays where you'd be able to get information or ask your questions in addition to the phone number and email. But as I mentioned, the best place to refer for schedule updates will be the project website, which is provided in English and Spanish, middlefieldroad.org. And ongoing communication will continue in English and Spanish, similar to the flyer, text, and email updates that you all likely received about this event. And so we will continue to provide regular construction notifications as mentioned by Christoph to be sure you're aware of project updates as they are available. And that concludes the information that I had to share. And I just wanted to check in with Emma to see if there are any other comments, or Christoph, that you wanted to add.
I think the most important thing that I'd like to encourage everyone here today and others that are your surrounding business associates to stay informed. It's important that you could do one or two things. One, as Ellie and others have mentioned, visit our middlefieldroad.org website, as well as keep in contact with us by providing us your cell phone number, your email, if that changes, because we also like to email you, text you as information becomes available. We do have, we meet every Wednesday. We get a 2-week look ahead of where construction will be. But should electricity or something go out, we hope not, but we could immediately contact you through text or through email. You have met many of our Office of Community Affairs staff and outreach team. as they've gone out and provided you the blue folder, which I believe you guys all have today, is a nice blue folder with contact information. As Ellie mentioned, the Office of Community Affairs is working to be a satellite office on Middlefield Road near the parking lot. We hope to have an office out there by next month. And so as soon as we can determine the date and times, we will get that information out to you. I think more importantly, now moving forward, we're going to allow some questions and answers, which I believe there's some questions that others might have. So please, we'll open the floor for any questions. If there's anything in the chat box, or Victor, if there's any questions on your end, please share those.
Great. So just as a reminder, if you would like to submit a question, you can do so using the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. And you can also, for those in the Zoom meeting, you can press the raise hand button. For those calling into the Spanish interpretation line, please let Victor, the interpreter, know what questions you have, and maybe I'll pause there and see if Victor has any questions.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks, Ellie. As of right now, there are none.
Ellie, I could probably prompt some questions that might have come up from our last meetings as well. One of the questions that was asked was, when will they be in front of my business and how would I know? I believe DPW has now, and I hope you guys heard, is that DPW has give us a projection that they will start from Douglas down to 6th Avenue, but we'll start on the southbound side. So for those of you that are on the call, it's kind of on the side of coming south to Menlo Park. And then they will go back up north to Douglas and then start on the north side. So it will, for those of you that are on the between 4th and 5th and 3rd, that's later towards the project. So they will start up on the Douglas side, Douglas southbound. Another question that came up, will public transportation be interrupted? Will I still have access to public transportation? That will not be impacted and everyone will still have access to public transportation.
Just to add on to that, Emma, so individual stops may be impacted when we're working in front of them, but we will be posting information on those stop signs where the next available location is to be picked up. And we're working with Sam Trams to make sure we coordinate with them and let them know exactly when stops are going to be impacted.
Thank you for that clarification.
And I thought I saw a hand raised, but it looks like it's lowered. So if there are any other questions, well, let's see. We did get one question. We did not receive a blue folder informational packet. How do we get one? Please call or email the phone number listed on the who to contact. If we could just go back one slide, and or you could actually submit your address here in the Q&A, and we'll be able to get a packet delivered to you. But you could also call this number and just let us know where we should deliver the project information packet. All right, let's see if there are.
No, any other questions?
I don't see any hands raised. And just to mention, many of the materials that were provided in the blue folder are also posted on the project website, which is shown here in blue, middlefieldroad.org, which includes a fact sheet that summarizes the information that was covered today, and also includes information about who to contact. But we can definitely get a package delivered to the person that submitted that question. So thank you. And maybe I'll just check in with Victor to see if there are any other questions.
Thank you, Ellie. I
Feel free.
don't see any, no one's asked any questions. Thanks.
One of the things I want to also add that are in the blue packet folders, there's resources that are also available to our small business community, whether they're access to our small business loan programs, assistance on rental assistance. If you're a landlord and or renter, there is rental relief program that is available as well. I've also provided that in your packet, and we'll have that available on the website. We provided a fact sheet of the project, as well as a fact sheet on the rental relief program, as well as if you want to access and become and to host a vaccine clinic for you and your business owners, you can do that.
All right, just checking back in to see, so that this pretty much concludes the information, the presentation that we plan to share with you all today. We just want to thank everyone for making time to attend today's meeting. Like I mentioned, all of this information is posted on the middlefieldroad.org project website, and we will be continuing to post updates for the construction project on that website as new information is available. So thank you so much to everyone for attending, and I don't see any other hands raised. Maybe we'll just do one more call for any questions before we wrap up today. It looks like we do have one hand raised. Let's see. Andrea, you should be able to unmute. Not sure, maybe you should be able to unmute there.
Hello.
Hi, did you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, listen, my name is Andrea. I am a urban sociologist. I'm in Brazil. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
So my friend invited me for this meeting since I work some vocabulary in the area. But my question is if Warren is locally still alive. I'm just curious because he is a uncle of my friend who invited me.
Great, Andrea, thank you so much for your question. Maggie Cornejo is here today in representation of Supervisor Warren Slocum's office, and she provided a welcome at the beginning of the meeting. So thank you so much for your question and for joining us today. With that, I think that concludes the information that we had to present today. Reminder that if you have any additional questions that you would like to ask that come up after today's meeting, you can submit those to us via email or by phone, and we will be sure to get back to you. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and we look forward to continuing to stay in touch with you as the project continues. So we hope everyone has a great day.